What's direction?
Should we start this meeting?
Yeah, I think it's safe to start it. And if no one has any questions when he comes that we haven't gone over already, he can certainly ask.
All right.
Unless you all want to give him another 5 minutes or so, it's totally up to you.
I'm okay to give him 5 minutes
Okay.
if he'll make it, if he can. Hey, David, you want to pull a chair up for him to sit in? He presents the item. You don't have to stand, you can actually sit.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, David.
Do y'all need copies, hard copies of the report to go through?
I would love one if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you. Sure.
Since you printed that.
Yeah, well, I think that's something else there for me, but.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are you a notary?
I'm not.
I am.
Oh, you are now?
I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I am too, if we ever need that. I have to be for work.
Nice. Okay, that's very good to know. That didn't take long at all, Cole. You just sent in your $89?
Yeah, did not take too long. Be able to put it to good use. Haven't used it yet.
You haven't?
Yep.
All right, Cole, I think we're gonna go ahead and start.
I think it's okay.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Williamson-Travis County MUD #1. We do not have any public speakers in the room tonight, so we'll go straight to agenda item 2, which is the status of the annual audit report for the district for the fiscal year ending 2022, including authorize the filing of the annual audit report with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality and other agencies as required. I will turn it over to you.
So, good evening. My name is Jimmy Romell. I'm an audit partner with Maxwell Lock and Ritter. And I handed out 2 documents this evening that we're going to go over. The larger document is going to be our audit report for your fiscal year ended September 30th, 2022. And then the smaller document that I handed out, this is required communication to the governing body at the end of the audit process. We're going to start off going through the audit report first, and then address any questions y'all may have, and then we'll move on to the governance letter after that. Just to point out, these are both in final draft form. All the information is updated. The only thing that's not included in here is an actual date. So pending approval, then that will drive the date for the final report that gets submitted to the TCEQ. But just want to point that out. That's why you'll notice that there's draft language on the bottom of all the pages. Once again, no information is pending. So starting off on the draft audit report, if you turn a couple pages in after the annual filing affidavit, you'll see our independent auditor's report. And just a quick point, so there was a few changes in our professional auditing standards that really didn't change the overall audit process significantly, but what it did do is it changed the appearance of this independent auditor's report. In previous years, the opinion which we provide actually was buried on the second page of this report. Now you'll see it's the very first section of the report. But once again, no real changes in the overall process, but this report does look a little different. So if you were going to compare last year's report to this year's report, you'll notice that the language is slightly different and the presentation is a little bit different, but ultimately the same information is included as we've included in prior years. So we are going to be issuing a unmodified or clean opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we can provide as an external auditor. So now we'll go ahead and skip ahead a few pages in to page 11. This is where your financial statements begin. So page 11 is going to be your statement of net position and governmental funds balance sheet. And you'll see the first three columns show your general fund, debt service fund, and capital projects fund for your year ended September 30th, 2022. Starting off with your general fund, overall total assets at the end of the year were just under $3.7 million. Of that, primarily the amount is comprised of your cash and cash equivalents as well as your investments, and then also you had outstanding service account receivables and outstanding property tax receivables. Liabilities in your general fund were about $762,000. So then if you go towards the bottom of that column, you'll see towards the very bottom a line for unassigned fund balance of $2.7 million. The unassigned meaning it's available for general operations of your district. So that's the number you would use to compare to your future expenditures to see kind of what kind of reserve you have in place for future expenditures on a go-forward basis. So once again, that's about $2.7 million as of the end of fiscal year 22. Next column is going to be your debt service fund. These are funds set aside to pay for your outstanding debt. At the end of the year, had about $155,000 of total assets and minimal liabilities, so about $134,000 of ending fund balance, which is restricted for payment of your outstanding bonds. And then the capital products fund, the last several years, has had just a residual amount of about $2,800, but you can see the assets equal the liabilities, so there's actually no fund balance remaining in the capital products fund. And then if you go towards the right of this page, you'll see the very far right column is your statement of net position. This is just a financial reporting requirement as part of your audit report that will show your financial information in a similar manner to what a for-profit entity would show. The main reconciling items that it brings on are going to be all your capital assets and then any long-term liabilities, which you'll see that as of the end of the year, you only have very minimal long-term liabilities left since you only have one bond payment that's remaining, which will be paid actually here in a couple months, I believe. Moving on to the next page, page 12. This will be your statement of activities and changes in fund balances for fiscal year 22. Starting with your general fund, you had total expenditures of just under $4.5 million. Total revenues of about just under $4.8 million. So you had an increase in your general fund of just under $316,000 during fiscal year 22. For your debt service fund, expenditures of just under $192,000. Revenues of $203,000, so an increase of just under $11,000 during fiscal year 22. Moving on to page 13, this will be your budget to actual comparison for your general fund. It shows your budget amounts, actual results, and then the very far right column will show the variance between your budget in the actual amounts. So overall, revenues had a positive variance of about $145,000. Expenditures a positive variance of about $318,000. So overall, a positive budget variance of around $463,000 for fiscal year 22. And then beginning on page 14 are going to be your notes to your financial statements. As I mentioned earlier, there weren't a lot of changes to the overall audit process. There was actually one new accounting standard that was implemented as part of the audit for fiscal year 22. If you turn to page 18, you'll see a paragraph that says change in accounting principle for recently adopted accounting pronouncement. In the last few years, we've included language in our audit report indicating that there was a new accounting standard that was going to be effective for fiscal year 22. It relates to leases. And just as a quick refresher, under the old guidance, if you have a lease agreement, there were essentially two different types of leases. You could have what's considered a capital lease, which meant a liability and an asset would show up on your balance sheet. Or you could have an operating lease, which meant there was no information that showed up on your financial statements. It just required disclosure of the payments that you would owe on that lease agreement. Under this new standard, essentially that operating lease type of agreement kind of goes away to where most things now, if they are long-term and significant, will actually end up on your balance sheet as a asset and a liability. And the asset is a right of use asset, meaning you have the right to use a specific thing. Like think of it like you're leasing a truck, for instance. You don't own the truck, but you have the right to use it for a certain amount of time. So that asset would show up on your books, and then you have a corresponding liability for the payments that you would have to make on an agreement. The asset would depreciate just like your typical capital assets would do. The liability would be decreased as you're making payments. So just want to point that out that that is now effective, even though it actually had no impact on your financial statements for fiscal year 22. But on a go-forward basis, if you were to enter into any significant long-term leasing agreements, just know that the guidance for that is going to be different than what it would have been in prior fiscal years. So moving ahead to page 22, this will show your capital assets as of the end of fiscal year 22. You'll see overall slight decrease in the year compared to the beginning of the year. You had additions of around $128,000, but then you had depreciation expense of about $630,000. So overall, your net capital assets decreased to about $10.5 million as of the end of fiscal year 22. Then moving on to page 23, footnote number 7, this will show your outstanding debt balance as of September 30th, 2022. As I mentioned, you only have one payment remaining, so you'll see your maturity schedule just shows the one payment for principal that's due in fiscal year 23. And then if we continue to move on, beginning on page 25 are going to be your required supplemental TCEQ schedules. The information here has not changed from the last audit report as far as the information that's included. But just want to point out a couple things in these schedules. If you turn a few pages ahead to page 32, this will show your outstanding taxes as of the end of the fiscal year. And if you look at the bottom, as a reminder, your tax year is always 1 year behind your fiscal year. So you'll see for your 2021 tax year, as of the end of the fiscal year, you had very strong collections of around 99.7%. Obviously, since then, there's probably more that has come in for that. But you'll see overall the last 4 years, still very strong property tax collections within your district. And then pages 33 and 34, just once again kind of show the outstanding debt for your district. So for your fiscal year 23 audit, schedule TSI-5 will actually no longer be required because you've paid off your outstanding bonds. And then TSI-6 on page 34 will show the activity of the bonds during the year. And then last item in the audit report I was going to cover is on page 35. This shows a 5-year analysis of both your general fund and your debt service fund. It's always a good schedule to review just to see overall how revenues and expenditures are trending for both your general fund and your debt service fund. Debt service fund, obviously, the revenues and expenditures are going down as you're paying off your bonds, but you're also not allocating as much of your property tax rate to your debt service fund, so that is kind of makes sense. And then for the general fund, typically the one significant expenditure that can fluctuate the most is usually your capital outlay, depending on what you have budgeted during each year. But once again, this is just a good schedule to review to see overall the trends that you're seeing on the revenue and expenditure side. Before I move on to the governance letter, I'll address any questions you may have for me on the audit report.
Page 36 needs correction.
What is the correction that you need?
Wait, never mind, it would be right, because you're going to the
Yeah.
end of,
Yeah, it's effective
22.
22. Yeah, that's why, when there's a gap between the end of the audit, especially if there's been a board turnover, then this.
don't you use data all the way up until the audit date?
So we look at information that happens after the end of the fiscal year through the audit report date for anything that is significant enough to include a disclosure. So obviously the numbers are as they are as of 9/30. But say a good example is if you were to issue bonds after the end of the year, but in between when we actually issue our audit report, we would disclose that in the footnotes that there was that kind of activity. Typically, the TCEQ schedules in the back, those are pretty much cut off as of the balance sheet date, and things that happen after that are usually not addressed in the actual audit report.
It's my understanding that the original data that you received from our accountant, Infomark Accounting, was not good, and they had to replace that data. Do you know anything about that?
I don't recall the exact, I know we got the initial information, it was much later in the audit calendar than we typically get. Typically, we're looking to present at y'all's January board meeting, so if you kind of work your way back, usually we want the final numbers, even if there's a couple little corrections that maybe they need to make, but usually we want decent numbers to start the audit process, typically November or even early December, in order to have enough time to go through, ask, because obviously once we get the information, there's going to be questions that we have, requests that we have, and then the end product, obviously, of drafting the financial statements takes a little bit of time as well. So I don't know specifically, just because it's been obviously a few months, what the records were, but I know it definitely was much later. Because if you think about last year, we were kind of right up against the deadline. Mm-hmm. And I know last year we got the information, I believe, in early January, and we presented at a special meeting in February, I believe.
So you just got the data late? Is that what you're saying?
So we got the data late, and then once we started digging into it and making our requests, there was significant lag between when we would make a request to when we would actually get the support for the request that we made. That was really the biggest kind of reason that we're now in July presenting the audit report to you. Is we made our initial request, and then just getting it back, because of course even when we get stuff back, there could be some follow-up requests or additional things that we need to verify. So yeah, just a significant amount of time that would elapse every time we would ask for information from the bookkeeper in order to once again ultimately arrive at our final report.
Was there any data that was given to y'all that was not correct, or that they had to correct, they had to go back and they had to send something back? Was there something that kind of raised some questions and they kind of went back and corrected it and brought it back to you?
So overall, we actually ended up not having a lot of actual audit adjustments once we got the numbers from them. What took the longest time at the end is the bookkeeper prepares a depreciation schedule of all your capital assets. And so that's what we were waiting on for the last, I believe, couple months to get that information so that we could test any additions, any deletions, depreciation expense, things like that. But once we got the information, it was actually in fairly decent form. It just took a while to get everything when we were making all of our requests from your bookkeeper.
done with my questions. Kelly, David?
No.
So then the only other thing, as I mentioned, the letter that I handed out as well, this is required communication to the governing body at the end of the audit process. You'll see on the second paragraph, anytime there's a new accounting pronouncement, we are also required to disclose that in this letter as well. On page 2, the very top part, if we do have difficulties in performing the audit, we are required to let the board know. So that's what this first paragraph talks about on page 2, that we got information, and it just took a while to get the information from the bookkeeper to ultimately complete our results. As I mentioned, we actually had no significant audit adjustments as part of our process. Once we got the information, we were able to get through everything fairly quickly. And then ultimately what's going to be attached to this letter is, if you go to, I believe it's the fifth page. No, I was right, fourth page. So fourth page, this is what's the management representation letter. Yeah, fourth page. So this is what the bookkeeper will sign that indicates that they provided us with everything that we needed to complete our audit this year. So once again, as we talked about, pending approval, then this will be dated and the audit report will be dated with the same date. And then we'll submit the final electronic copy once all that's taken
Can
care
you
of.
submit to TCEQ?
So normally we provide to your attorney, and then the attorney.
We can do it. I know Chris Lane with Samco said she wants to look at it and then also submit, so
Okay.
I'm going to send it to your financial advisor. And I'm going to send a copy to Lisa Rickard as well, your bookkeeper, so she has it.
Perfect.
So, yeah, and once it's finalized and I get a final electronic draft, I can send it to the full board as well, so everybody has it.
Because that is one thing that, and it's mainly because this audit is 6 months late. And we too have been struggling to get financial reports from our previous accountant. We have a new accountant now, so it's going to be better, but for that reason, I do want to make a motion. And that is that Artisan, our new accountant, vet the material that was submitted to the auditor. Just in part of their onboarding process of taking our records to kind of look at this audit against the records that they're receiving, I would feel better knowing that they got everything they needed to get.
Okay. And so if we did that, to allow Lisa some time, would you all be okay with doing an approval subject to like a 7-day review?
It would have nothing to do with the review of the work that they've done. I want her to look at it and give us fresh eyes. If there's something wrong, we need to do a total different set of things anyways. I just want her to look at the data that was submitted to the auditor.
I guess my question is, so do you want? Are you saying that you don't want to approve the
No,
audit until?
I'm not saying that.
Okay, so you're saying we'll approve it, but also just to have Lisa look at it, and then perfect, that's good.
Yeah, I don't think that holding up the approval and getting this to TCEQ is necessary. If there was a major problem, we would have to regroup anyway and start over.
Okay.
So there's no point in holding it up for that. But just it's actually a great starting point for Artisan to see the data the way it was presented by the auditor, in addition to receiving our records from Infomark Accounting.
Right. Okay. All right.
So that was my motion, is just to have Artisan look at the audit report in conjunction with the data they're receiving from Infomark Accounting, just to make sure that it looks copacetic. And I need a second.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
So you want to approve it tonight, subject to their approval?
No,
or you're
subject
just,
to.
We're just asking them to look at it?
Because if they want to bill us, for a couple of hours of work, that needs to be approved.
Okay, I second it.
So we got Kelly with the second. David, any questions? All in favor?
Thank you.
Not anything about your report, it's just
No.
a good cross-reference for the data
And that's,
they're taking.
as a board, that's your right to do
Yeah.
anything like that you want to do. So,
So-
so then we'll get everything kind of finalized on our end, and then we'll submit the electronic copy using today's date since it was approved today.
Well, we don't have a motion for that, but David is on the audit committee, so if you'd like to make a motion to
Okay.
accept this audit report?
Yep.
I move to accept this audit report as presented.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion passes.
And Jimmy, I was just gonna say the one comment I have, just on page 36, submission date of most recent district registration form. We are gonna be filing an updated one tomorrow that has all the new bookkeepers, so if you wanna put July 26, 2023 in, you
Okay.
can, or if you wanna use the most recent from the audit
I think
year.
we'll do, so because if we're going to date the report with today's date, I think it would look weird if it's stated, if the report's dated 25th, but then the district registration form would be the 26th.
So then I can give you the date of the
Yeah, if you
submission
want-
form that was done a
Yeah,
couple
yeah, if you
months
get, if
ago.
there's a more recent one, then we can go
Yes,
ahead.
there is.
So we'll make that change.
Let me get that date for you and I'll send you an email if I can't
Okay.
pull it up right now.
Flag that real quick.
All right, that takes care of everything on agenda item 2. Do you need signatures on your documents?
So I brought some filing affidavits without the draft language on the bottom.
Okay.
We had Hanoi normally, because the board president normally would be signed, so I guess you could probably just cross through it.
Yeah, we can cross it off and put vice
So
president.
that way, and then if you send this to us,
I can
or-
scan it and send it back to you.
and
Does
then
that
we can
work, or-
include that in the final, or I can wait, I mean, if it's not gonna
Okay.
take very long,
I'll do
it's
it.
whatever's.
No point in you waiting.
Well, April 25th.
April
2023.
25th?
Yeah.
I really did sign it
Sign your name. Okay.
for your notary stamp.
Thank you. No,
No, it's
I'm
got
gonna
one.
notarize it.
It's gonna be
And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just cross off Hanoi and put in.
You can do
Linda's.
personal email or
Okay,
if he's comfortable.
let's see, because if he's new to it. My husband was a real stickler when we did driver's license.
And then you're gonna send the representation, the management letter.
Yeah,
I'll separately.
So yeah, we'll get that signed off by our folks.
Okay, perfect.
And then we'll include that in the final distribution with the audit report as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
And they're aware they don't need to sign it, so I would think we'll get that.
Okay.
done pretty quickly. So do you want me to hang around for that?
You don't
Because I can
need to.
scan it too. I can take it and scan it, whatever you prefer.
Do you want me to, I can scan it when I get back to the office
Yeah,
tonight
that's
and send it to
fine.
you?
Yeah.
Does that work? Do you need the hard copy for your?
No,
records?
just the electronic copy.
All right,
because then we'll
I'll-
drop that into our final.
Perfect, that'll give you some time to.
And do you need any hard copies of the final report?
I would like a hard copy for records, yeah.
Just one, or you want to send a few of them?
One is fine, but yeah.
Here's
One
an
copy
extra one
just
right here too.
Well, the final.
The final one, though.
Oh, the final.
We can just
Valid.
have it couriered to your office.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll probably send 3 that way if you need.
That's perfect, yeah. Unless, do any of you want one?
We'll take an electronic copy, that'd be fine.
Okay, yeah, just one then for records. Thank you, appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
Nice meeting you.
All right.
Thank
Have
you
a good
so
evening.
much. All right, moving on to agenda item 3, consider rescheduling the August 16th regular Board of Directors meeting. And my understanding is, Cole, you have a conflict on that day?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I will
Okay.
be out at my cousin's wedding.
You know
You have a
so
lot of
many people
weddings.
that get married, I know.
I know. This is the summer of weddings
Yes, it
for
is.
Amy and I. But we were talking about this the other day. The good thing is after this year, I think there's just a handful of people left in our life who there could be a wedding in the future. So chances are it might be one a year from here on out.
Love weddings. There's never too many weddings to go to. Okay, what dates on your email, you said anything after what day did you say?
So,
August 16th is a no-go, so.
yeah, the 16th, the 15th, or the 18th is a no-go for me. I can make any other time work. Preferably would like to do, if you all are available to meet the week before, or I guess it would be either the week before or the 22nd, August 22nd, which is a Tuesday. I could do those. At this meeting, we're going to be discussing your tax rate and authorizing publication. So we would need to pin down a date so I can alert Williamson County and Travis County that that's going to be your publication meeting date.
The 22nd, it works for me. That's the Tuesday. Kelly, how does that look for you?
It's okay.
David?
It works. Does Infomark have to be here? Because Infomark cannot be here the 22nd or the 23rd.
Then I'm going to tell you no. Pardon me, they don't need to be here.
So,
That will be our general board meeting on August 22nd. Now, we should be able to have Stephanie here for that meeting, so. That
So-
works for you?
22nd?
August 22nd?
August 22nd at 6:30.
Yes.
Let me just triple confirm.
So that means we need an agenda ready to publish no later than August 18th?
Third.
Yeah, no later. I'll have it. I'll do what I did last time, and I'll have it at least 5 or 6 days in
Okay.
advance. I'm gonna really try and get the agendas finalized the week before each meeting. That
That's
way
like
you'll
it.
have them, and that gives a little bit of comfort.
Yep. I agree.
You don't have a 7 a.m. flight the next morning, do you?
No, I do not. I do not. Thank
That's
you for
fun.
asking. Okay, so August 22nd at 6:30. I need to contact Travis and Williamson County. Okay. Okay, perfect.
Got that?
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 4, convening an executive session. Does anybody have any questions for Cole that needs his attention? Nope. Skipping that one, going to agenda 5. There will be no actions because we didn't go into an executive session. Agenda item 6, other matters as they may come before the board. Any discussion about items to be included on the agenda for future meetings?
We'll just email Cole.
Did you just email Cole with your
That's fine.
agenda items? All right.
That's fine.
And schedule future meetings, which we just did. I say, need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second that.
This meeting is, all in
All
favor?
right,
Meeting's adjourned.
thank you. What about me?
I wonder if David, one more.